Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM in West Bloomfield. You can join Civic Center TV on Comcast, Channel 15, and AT&T Channel 99, where we're also broadcasting in the Birmingham and Bloomfield Hills area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 out of Southfield. You can also join us both live and live to tape on Comcast Channel 10 and AT&T Channel 99, on Orion Neighborhood Television, and on the media network of Waterford. Join us online on civiccentertv.com. Click on our Watch Live link at the top of the page on your computer web browser. And then on your cell phone, if you're on your web browser, you can find us in the left margin of the screen by clicking at the top left and going into our drop-down menu and clicking on that same link, Watch Live, where you can watch the Megacast live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon and all of our regular programming outside of the Megacast here on Civic Center TV, including municipal meetings and The Splash and other original programming and live events on that Watch Live link. You can also find us on our Facebook pages, Civic Center TV 15 and Lakes FM. Go ahead and give us a like over there as well so you can follow along with all of our other programming and learn more about what's going on here in the greater West Bloomfield area. You can also find us online across the state of Michigan and all over the world on My Michigan TV or MyMy. Go to mymytv.com to learn more information about where you can download the free MyMy TV app, both on your cell phone and on your smart TV, and find all of our programming live and on demand over there as well. Many of our interviews will be posted on My Michigan TV after our live shows each and every day, and you can also find other original programming from My Michigan TV, such as Steve Leto Live and other projects that they're working on and that they import from other creators all across the state of Michigan, all about the Great Lakes State. Again, that's My Michigan TV or mymytv.com, or you can find all the links to each and every one of our partnering stations by going to our Megacast page at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. There you'll be able to click through those links, learn more about each of these other stations and the other programming that they do and the services that they provide to their individual communities and to our collective community, and find all of our shows, both the full episodes and the individual interviews, on demand on that webpage as well. Then right next to that, on civiccentertv.com, is our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to very helpful resources on the COVID-19 front from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division. There you'll be able to learn more about the spread of COVID-19, the Delta variant, and other variants that may or may not pop up in the future. You can learn more about the precautionary measures and the efficacy of those measures, all the variables that go into the efficacy of those measures as well, such as masking, social distancing, hand washing, and other precautionary measures that you can take to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and learn more about our vaccines, the booster shots, vaccines for children, and find out where you can get vaccinated in our local area here in Oakland County, all across the state of Michigan, and anywhere here in the United States as well. If you're looking to get vaccinated, to get a booster shot, or to get your kids vaccinated as well. Also on civiccentertv.com's coronavirus page, we have links to articles from across the state of Michigan about issues both on the COVID-19 front and other top stories making news all across the state of Michigan. And today, our first story from Bridge, Michigan, a report that Michigan doled out $3.9 billion with a B dollars in improper unemployment payments. An audit has reported that Michigan made these payments. Most of the money likely won't be recouped either, a blockbuster state audit has found. The Thursday report published by the Office of the Auditor General is the latest in months-long debacle that has resulted in the resignation of not one but two unemployment insurance agency directors over the handling of payments during the pandemic. The state's unemployment system was overwhelmed in the early days of the crisis, paying $3.9 billion to 3.5 million residents. Quote, based on the limited data analysis we have been able to perform, it appears UIA improperly paid $3.9 billion to claimants now classified as ineligible, end closed quote, said the report. The money, which went to about 347,000 workers who are now deemed ineligible, will, quote unquote, likely not be recouped, the audit also found. Quote, The improper payments were UIA's fault and not that of the claimants, in closed quote, said the report. The agency faced backlash this summer after using an old set of criteria for unemployment qualification and warning over 648,000 claimants that they may need to repay the benefits over the state's mistake. The state ended up granting claimants overpayment waivers. The unusually harsh report by the Office of the Auditor General concluded that the state waited months to fix the problem. In June of 2020, the U.S. Department of Labor told the UIA of a, quote, urgent and, quote, critical issue related to the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Certification, or PUA. The Unemployment Insurance Agency did not follow through changing the criteria of this until March, despite suggesting it would do so both in September and October of 2020. In response to the audit, the state acknowledged, quote, some errors were made, end closed quote, and said it was challenged and its, quote, capacity was tested, end closed quote. Continuing on, the agency had responded by saying, quote, UIA had to implement multiple new federal programs based on a hastily drafted law that allowed claimants to self-attest to their own eligibility, contend with historic levels of claims filed, and defend new highly sophisticated criminal efforts to commit fraud, all while transitioning its entire workforce to remote work, end closed quote. Current UIA Director Julia Dale said in a statement that the agency is, quote, implementing program controls and processes based on the OAG's audit and will continue to refine those processes as the agency moves forward with its priorities, end closed quote. Dale was appointed by Governor Whitmer on October 25th and is the third UIA director in less than a year, following both Steve Gray and interim director Liza Estelin Olson. Gray was hailed as a reformed and appointed by Whitmer to fix its long-standing issues with the agency. The embattled department has been at the center of controversy in Lansing. However, Republican lawmakers have held hearings and proposed fixes to improve customer service at the agency. Quote, this was a state mistake with their criteria, not a mistake by claimants, said Representative Steve Johnson, a Republican from Wayland and the chair of the House Oversight Committee, in a statement. Representative Johnson continued, quote, worse yet, UIA continued down a path that they were told was incorrect, end close quote. Representative Johnson said he hopes the agency can improve its system, and his committee will continue to work with Director Dale to find solutions. That full article from Bridge, Michigan, located on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, in addition to all of our other top stories of the day coming up next as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday next week, and then soon after the December holidays. Holiday travel is expected to increase, but different groups are differing on how much they project that those holiday increases will go up. This is from the Oakland Press. AAA forecasts a strong rebound in holiday traffic this Thanksgiving, with the Auto Club Group predicting 53.4 million Americans will hit the road and skies for the holiday, up 13% from last year, within 5% of pre-pandemic levels for the 2019 holiday. But another survey conducted for the American Hotel and Lodging Association, or the AHLA, isn't nearly as optimistic. According to the American Automotive Association, the gap for holiday travelers is slightly wider in Michigan, as total travel figures are about 7% below pre-pandemic levels. AAA predicts nearly 1.6 million Michiganders will travel for Thanksgiving, a 14% rebound from the total number of travelers during the 2020 holiday. Quote, it's beginning to look more like a normal holiday travel season compared with what we saw last year, said Debbie Haas, Vice President of Travel for AAA. Haas continued, now that the U.S. borders are open, vaccinations are readily available, and the new health and safety guidelines are in place, travel is once again high on the list for Americans who are ready to reunite with their loved ones for the holidays, end closed quote. AAA expects 6.4 million Americans more to be traveling this Thanksgiving than in 2020, including 202,900 more Michiganders than the previous year. That means travelers should prepare for the roads and airports to be noticeably more crowded crowded than last year's holiday. AAA predicts road travel to increase by about 8%. Yet the most notable improvement for this year's holiday is actually domestic air travel, which has almost completely recovered from its dramatic drop-off during the pandemic and is actually up 80% from last year. Quote, the reopening of the U.S. borders to international travelers means airports will be even busier than we've been in recent times. So travelers must plan for longer lines and extra time for TSA checks, Haas added. She continued, with flight delays and cancellations becoming a problem recently, air travelers are encouraged to consider travel insurance. If your flight is canceled, there are various policies that would help offset unexpected expenses like a hotel, transportation, and food. You may also receive compensation for lost luggage if your flight is delayed for as little as 3 hours, end closed quote. But this data runs contrary to information obtained by a survey from the American Hotel and Lodging Association. While rising vaccination rates against COVID-19 have increased travelers' comfort levels, many Americans are still opting to stay home this holiday season, according to their survey. The survey found that 29% of Americans are likely to travel for Thanksgiving, and 33% will do so for the Christmas holiday, an increase of 21% and 24% respectively compared to last year. Those who plan to travel over the holidays expect to drive, but rising gas prices may dampen those plans. The survey of 2,200 adults was conducted October 30th through November 1st, a span of just a few days, surprisingly, by Morning Consult on behalf of the AHLA. Gas prices surged in October and are likely to remain elevated throughout the holiday season. All the results of the AHLA survey indicate just 1 in 3 Americans plan to travel for Christmas, and even fewer plan to travel for Thanksgiving. About 68% of Thanksgiving travelers plan to stay with family or friends, while 22% will stay in a hotel. Again, AAA is much more optimistic. Of the 1.6 million Michiganders expected to travel for Thanksgiving, AAA of Michigan expects 1.4 to travel by vehicle, 147,400 by air, and about 31,900 to travel by bus, train, or by cruise. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently released its recommendations for the holidays, saying that the best way to minimize COVID risk is to get vaccinated if you are eligible. AAA urges anyone considering traveling or gathering for Thanksgiving to consult CDC guidance before finalizing any holiday plans. Read that full article and get links to those surveys and other helpful information from that story by going to our website, civiccentertv.com, clicking on our coronavirus link, and selecting that headline, which will take you to that article from the Oakland Press. Lastly, making news here, we hear yearly complaints from workers and even from consumers about having retail workers, particularly those in grocery stores or in big box stores, to be working on holidays such as Thanksgiving. Well, one of our local markets, Bush's, is looking to change that. They have said they are going to close on Thanksgiving to give their workers, quote, a day of rest. This is from the Detroit News. Bush's Fresh Food Market plans to close its 16 Metro Detroit stores on Thanksgiving so workers can spend the holiday with their families, officials announced on Wednesday. Quote, our associates have worked very hard all throughout the pandemic to take care of our guests and deserve a day at home with their friends and family, said Todd Robinson, Vice President of Marketing, in a statement. Robinson's statement continued saying, we are thankful for all of their efforts, and hope that they enjoy a day of rest and relaxation. They have certainly earned a day off, and we encourage our guests to let our associates know that they are appreciated, end closed quote. Bush's has locations in Ann Arbor, Clinton, Canton Township, Dexter, Farmington Hills, Livonia, Novi, Pinckney, Plymouth, Northville, Rochester Hills, Saline, South Lyon, Tecumseh, West Bloomfield Township, and Brighton. Other retailers have announced plans to close on Thanksgiving next week. They include Best Buy, Target, and Walmart. Find that article from the Detroit News on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where you can also find all of our other top stories each and every day, leading all the way back to our first show in March of 2020. And of course, those very helpful links that go to the Centers for Disease Control, the Department of Health and Human Services here in Michigan, and the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 specific web pages, so you can learn more factual information about COVID-19 and make informed decisions about precautions you may take this holiday season and on other topics such as vaccination and other precautionary measures against the spread of COVID-19. We have a great Friday edition of the show ahead of you. Coming up next, Timothy Paule, the director of Detroit Hives, will join us as one of our Share Detroit charities. That will be with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:20 a.m. On the show, now through and beyond, just beyond Giving Tuesday. At 10:40, Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department will join us to talk about crime fighting in the city of Southfield, as well as the holiday season and other events coming up that are supported by the Southfield Police Department. At 11 o'clock, we'll be talking all about holiday shopping with Wayne Bronner, the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. At 11:20, Luther Keith, the executive director of Arise Detroit, will join us to talk about his organization. And then at 11:40, we will cap off the show with Dan Isidoric. He is the CEO of PC Miracles, who will be talking about this Fraud Awareness Week and giving us tips about how you can shore up your security on your devices and on your networks, both at home and at your workplace as well. That's all coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula in Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. This is just coming in right now from Craig Mauger of the Detroit News, who is now reporting that the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services will issue a face mask advisory for the holiday season due to rises in both flu and COVID-19 cases, saying that, and encouraging Michiganders 5 and up to get vaccinated as soon as they can. I'll read this statement that he has posted on his Twitter page at Craig D. Mauger. That is Craig D. and then his last name, Mauger, Mauger, and he is with the Detroit News. With the increasing rise in COVID-19 and flu cases, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, or MDHHS, will be issuing face mask advisories and offering guidance to keep loved ones safe and prevent the spread of respiratory illnesses during the holidays. MDHHS will issue a public health advisory that recommends everyone at the age of 2 and over should wear a face mask at indoor gatherings regardless of their vaccination status. In addition, it recommends establishments implement a policy to ensure that all persons entering or seeking services, including employees, are masked as well. This face mask advisory will remain in effect until further notice. Again, the wording of this suggests that it is not going to be another sort of a precautionary mandate that we've seen previously. It's simply just a recommendation recommending that families and individuals remain masked in indoor gatherings with other people during the holiday season, and that businesses reinstitute their previous policies if they don't have them remaining, that patrons and employees alike wear masks in their stores. Again, you can learn more information by going to Craig Mauger's Twitter page, at Craig D. Mauger, or by going and visiting the Detroit News, where I'm sure he will have an article about this, or someone else, one of his colleagues at the Detroit News will have an article on this at some point today, as that news just coming in 15 minutes ago. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services will issue a face mask advisory, a public health advisory, recommending all over the age of 2 wearing masks in indoor gatherings, and establishments put their mask policies back in place for the holiday season. That's that. You can check in more on that by following the Detroit News, and also by sticking with us at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we will keep you updated on everything that's going on here in the state of Michigan regarding COVID-19. Joining us now is Timothy Paule. He is the director of Detroit Hives, a shared Detroit-supported charity, as of course, each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:20 a.m. during our first interview slot. We will be joined by one of the charities and nonprofits supported by Shared Detroit as we approach and just as we surpass Giving Tuesday at the end of the month of November. So Timothy Paule, the director of Detroit Hives, is with us now. Timothy, thank you for being with us.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate having you on. So you're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Tell us about Detroit Hives and some of the work that your organization does.
Absolutely. Detroit Hives is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whereby we were founded in 2017. And we were set out for a mission to improve communities for both people and pollinators by transferring vacant lots into urban bee farms, but also into pollinator habitats. Since we started in 2017, we now exist in over 20 locations. And we work to partner with the City of Detroit, Detroit Land Bank, Wayne State University, the Ford Resource Engagement Center, Gleaners Community Food Bank, the list goes on. And we're managing over 50 honeybee hives right here in the city of Detroit. In addition to that, we're on a mission to educate the next generation of leaders in sustainability. With that being so, we implemented an educational program entitled Be the Change, whereby we've already educated and exposed hundreds of inner city youth on the importance of bee conservation right here in the city of Detroit.
We're joined by Timothy Paule. He's the director of Detroit Hives, a 501c3 nonprofit organization supported by Shared Detroit. You can learn more information about all the other Shared Detroit charities and nonprofits that they support, as well as Detroit Hives, and find out ways to volunteer, to donate, and to support with other products that they may need by going to shareddetroit.org. So how many farms do you currently have? How many hives do you currently have in the city of Detroit? And just how many bees does that equate to?
Very good question. So we currently have 48 hives directly in the city of Detroit. And then outside of Detroit, of course, we have hives in Pontiac, Michigan, and other areas throughout southeastern Michigan. But in Detroit, we have 48 honeybee hives. And what that equates to is you're looking at roughly somewhere between close to about, I would say about 8 million honeybees that's floating around here in the city of Detroit.
We're joined by Timothy Paule, director of Detroit Hives, with us today on the Megacast. And so there are a lot of misconceptions about bees. Some people know just like the basic facts about them. They're pollinators. Their peak seasons tend to be in the warmer months of the year where they're roaming around, and they're and they're helping with our plant life. Of course, they're of course producing honey in their hives in some cases. But what are some surprising facts that people may not know about our bee populations here in Detroit and the metro area?
I would definitely say that due to the increase in green space or vacant lots here in the city, that it's been boosting not only native bee populations, but also been very supportive with honeybee populations. And in return, with so much of the green space, it's been providing food security for our pollinators. See, what most people don't know or may not be familiar with is that the number one decline in pollinators or any type of insect or wildlife is the lack of habitat. So with so much green space that's providing or that's somewhat creating urban jungles, it's been providing pollinator habitats, and it's been supporting biodiversity and inclusion here in the city of Detroit. You know, Michigan is home to 467 native bees.
We're joined by Timothy Paule. He is the director of Detroit Hives, joining us on the Megacast. So you gave us a little bit of an idea of how many hives you have throughout the Detroit area, how many bees that does include. But what are some of the locations that these hives are at?
Right. So some of our premier locations include the Wayne State University Computer and Information Data Center, Michigan State University Detroit Partnership, located right in Brightmoor. We have hives at Gleaners Community Food Bank, the Ford Resource Engagement Center. But let's start with our very first project, the East Warren Apiary, whereby we transform a 10-year-old abandoned vacant lot that now serves as an outdoor educational hub. In essence, an educational apiary whereby we hosted well over 800 tours right here in the city of Detroit, locally, nationally, and internationally.
So then for you, you're the director of Detroit Hives, but you also are one of the founding people of the organization as well. What inspired you to begin Detroit Hives?
Well, it all started from an article that I came across around the summer of 2016. The city of Detroit put out a call to action where they're looking for residents like myself, nonprofit organizations, or community block clubs to buy back many of its vacant lots. See, at that time, the city of Detroit currently had over 90,000 vacant lots, and they didn't have a budget to tend to these vacant lots. And it was causing issues around our community, issues pertaining to poor mental health, blight, crime, and violence. And I took this as an opportunity to give back to our community because there was so much work happening in the downtown area. I felt like our inner city communities were being left out of that conversation. So it sparked an idea to want to do something. So we knew in order to change the narrative, what people thought about the inner city communities or pertaining to what they thought about the people that resided within the communities, we had to do something that was game changing, out of the box, or completely a new model. Originally, we thought about creating a peacock farm, an outdoor photography studio, or urban campsite. All of these were great ideas that we had on our vision board, but we really didn't act on them. Until later that year, December of 2016, I was undertaken with a really bad cough and cold that I tried everything to get rid of. I pretty much just threw in the towel and gave up until I came across the power of local raw honey from a store right here in Ferndale, Michigan, called the 9 Mile Hilton Market. From there, the store owner educated me on local raw honey, its importance, and it got rid of my cough and cold. My partner, Nicole, began to see my interest in learning more about local raw honey. She made a very simple suggestion. She said, how about we transform a vacant lot into a honeybee farm opposed to other ideas that we were thinking about? And that's where the idea began, where we pollinate Detroit hives.
And so how many vacant lots in the city of Detroit have been converted since you bought your first, you and your partner Nicole had bought the first lot back in 2017. Since then, how many have been then converted into a bee farm in Detroit?
Very good question. We've been able to successfully convert over 5 vacant lots right here in the city of Detroit, working to create a social, environmental, and financial impact in our community.
So when you say you convert these lots, what does that process entail to be able to go to these vacated lots in the city and transform them into exactly what you said, a location for these bees that's both ecologically constructive to the community and constructive in general to the community environment as well?
Yes, there's a lot that goes into converting a vacant lot. For one, depending on what site you choose, you must convert, or I would say conduct a land survey. But in addition to that, we're talking about community development. You just can't put hives in locations without working with the community. you have to create a hive within this space. So the first thing you need to do is really communicate with your community, find some local partners to be a part of this project. In addition to that, what we've been able to do is form partnerships right here in the city of Detroit that allow us to buy back the vacant lots in the city of Detroit.
We're joined by Timothy Paule. He is the director of Detroit Hives, joining us today on the Megacast as part of our Shared Detroit charities and nonprofits of the day that we're doing Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 10:20 now through November 30th as we approach Giving Tuesday. You can learn more information about Detroit Hives and other opportunities you may have to join them in their activities and, of course, to donate to their organization by going to DetroitHives.org or by visiting ShareDetroit.org as well. Again, we're joined by Timothy Paule, who is the director and one of the co-founders of Detroit Hives. And so, Timothy, when you do establish a hive on one of those vacant lots in the city of Detroit, beyond the ecological benefits that it brings to that environment in that area of our world, from a community standpoint, what benefit do these hives bring to their area of the Detroit community and to the broader community in Detroit?
In essence, let's start with food security. Pollinators are responsible for 90% of the foods that we eat today. Pollinators consist of butterflies, honeybees, native bees, ants, even wind serves as a pollinator. According to the Detroit Food Policy Council, they estimate that 48% of all Detroit households are considered food insecure, meaning that most residents only have access to fast food restaurants, gas stations, and liquor stores. And according to the USDA, they report that when you have these limited options of food choices, you're more likely to be prone to chronic illnesses like COVID-19, heart disease, diabetes, even depression. So by reactivating these vacant lots, it not only help reverse mental depression or mental disorders by seeing beautified projects, but it also works to provide food security, which provide better for your health. So what it does is when you have a habitat that provides food for pollinators, in return, pollinators help provide food for us. So we get an opportunity to work with local urban gardens, farmer markets, but also restaurants to provide a local raw honey and beeswax candles, in which provides respiratory or immunotherapy support.
We're joined by Timothy Paule. He is the director of Detroit Hives, joining us today on the Megacast. You can learn more information at DetroitHives.org to learn more about all the work that they're doing and, of course, ways that you can help the organization as well. And so, Timothy, we know that during the pandemic, the last 20 months plus, that our nonprofits have had a really tough time, certainly on the financial side of things in a general sense, but also continuing their operations also in some ways and in others. It varies from charity to charity, from nonprofit to nonprofit. But at this time, in terms of what the community can do to support your organization, what are Detroit Hives' greatest needs at this moment in time that our community can help to provide?
Right now, to continue our ongoing mission, we have a goal of transforming or revitalizing 5 additional vacant lots throughout the course of 2022 to 2023. And we're working to revitalize a vacant commercial parking lot that sits at 32,000 square feet. And we're going to transform that particular parking lot into the State Fair and Hoover Pollinator Parkway. We've already raised over $48,000, and we're looking to complete our estimated budget of $70,000. So we're looking for donors, we're looking for volunteers and supporters to help be a part of this project.
We're joined by Timothy Paule, director of Detroit Hives, with us on the Megacast, one of many Shared Detroit supported charities and nonprofits that may be joining us over the next couple of weeks as we approach Giving Tuesday. We'll be joined by a different charity supported by Shared Detroit Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:20 a.m. In the case of Detroit Hives, you can learn more information, of course, at ShareDetroit.org, but also on their direct website at DetroitHives.org. Learn more about their story, get in contact with them, shop at their shop, participate in fundraisers and activities, and, of course, donate to the organization as well. And so as we approach Giving Tuesday, this is a time of the year where people are eager to be giving to nonprofits and the charities and to want to put their additional funds or put whatever they can give either through volunteerism or financially to help the betterment of our community. As we approach Giving Tuesday and this time of the year, how critical are the holidays usually to the next year over for organizations like yours?
It's very critical, especially during this time. Most people, they really are not really focused on bees, because the weather is changing. So it's really important to keep our minds on our pollinators, because honeybees, they do in fact still work over the winter. They're less active, but they still work to keep their hives warm. And they do this by clustering up and creating their own temperature. See, they regulate the temperature of the hive all year round. When it's too hot, they create their own natural air conditioner. When it's too cold, they create their own heat system by vibrating their wing muscles that creates friction, which is very exciting. And this is one thing that people need to know and understand the importance of that. So keep our organizations in mind, because we are looking for money to keep this mission going for the upcoming spring season. In addition to that, we create an earned revenue model to generate sales through our honey and through our products. So we're looking for people to support small businesses or small organizations like ours to ramp up our organization so that we become more financially sustainable.
We're joined by Timothy Paule, the director of Detroit Hives, with us on the Megacast. Learn more information about the organization by visiting the nonprofit's website at detroithives.org. Timothy, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. At this time, is there any other important information or things that our audience should be aware of in terms of your organization or other ways that they can help out that we haven't discussed today?
Absolutely. We're working to plan our second annual Winter Bazaar. Once again, it's an outdoor, fun, family-filled engagement activity that involves live ice sculpture, but also an opportunity for the community to learn about how pollinators survive during the winter. In addition to that, we welcome everyone to join the Hive. Follow us at social media at Detroit Hives or visit our website at detroithives.org.
Well, Timothy, we appreciate you coming on and telling us about your organization, and wishing you the best of luck as we head into this holiday season and into the future as well.
Awesome. Thank you, and be well.
You as well. You can learn more information about Detroit Hives by visiting their website at detroithives.org. That's where you'll be able to learn more about different fundraisers, different activities that they have coming up. Shop with them also there, and of course where you can donate to the organization as well and support them, converting vacant lots in the city of Detroit into these beehives, supporting the construction of the constructive benefits of beehives to the ecology of local communities, as well as to the greater community also in the city of Detroit and beyond. Again, detroithives.org. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll be joined by Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department as they approach an upcoming event on December 4th, their holiday sleigh of giving held by the department at their Parks and Recreation building there in Southfield. Talk about crime and other things that are affecting residents of Southfield coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, Let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in our studios here in West Bloomfield Township, although we're broadcasting all throughout Oakland County and across the state of Michigan on a number of different television, radio, and other media outlets, including City Cable 15 of Southfield. You can learn more information about everywhere that we're broadcasting by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now also in Southfield is the Chief of the Southfield Police Department, Elvin Barren, back with us once again on the Megacast. Chief Barren, thank you for being with us.
Yes, sir. And as always, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So last week, Friday, or recently, you took part in a press conference that included Detroit Police Chief James White, Dearborn Police Chief Ronald Haddad, and Special FBI Agent in Charge Devin Kowalski to announce the arrest of 5 suspects accused of operating a carjacking ring in Southfield-Detroit and Dearborn. Tell us a little bit about that case, what the concerns are, and were with that, and then is the community in Southfield and the surrounding areas in the clear from this ring?
Yes, and I'll start off with the fact that the importance of law enforcement joining together, sharing information was very key to arresting these 5 violent predators. And so the Southfield Police Department reached out to the Detroit Police Department after the incident happened in our city. Because one thing that we knew is that the city of Detroit's police department, they had some fine detectives. They had information that they shared with us very quickly because they were also a victim of a carjack incident that same day. And so we were able to coordinate, combine resources, do surveillance operations, and then the 5 suspects were arrested. And more specifically, the suspect we found had the key to the Grand Cherokee that was stolen in the city of Southfield.
We're joined by Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department. So then, in this case, as it was reported, that was a carjacking ring based out of Southfield-Detroit and Dearborn. After the arrest of those 5 individuals accused of operating that carjacking ring, is it the belief at this time from your department and your partnering agencies that the community is in the clear of this ring, or do you suspect that other members of this carjacking ring, should they exist, are still at large?
So we do believe that we have all the suspects related to these carjackings in custody. And so one thing to point out is that the city of Southfield is very rare that we have random acts of violence. But when these things occur, we move very quickly to identify the suspects involved. And I'll give you an example. Once this incident occurred, the uncle of the victim, and our victim was 23 years old, the uncle called me. I assured him at that time that we would locate and identify these suspects and bring justice to this family. So I'm very thankful that with the Detroit Police Department, FBI, Dearborn, I was able to make good on my promise to that family to bring justice.
We're joined by Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department with us on the Megacast in a similar on a related topic. Part of the report of this carjacking ring was that they were specifically targeting, or they're primarily targeting, as you said, Jeep Grand Cherokees, but also Dodge Chargers and Dodge Challengers. We recently spoke with West Bloomfield Deputy Police Chief Kurt Lawson, who has said he and his department have seen an uptick in car thefts or attempted car thefts of Dodge Chargers and Challengers, in particular in the West Bloomfield area. Are you seeing something similar, either car thefts of any kind or break-ins of vehicles? Is that becoming more common also in neighboring areas of our community, such as in Southfield?
Yes, that's very accurate. These criminals are lured to those Dodge products, particularly. What we found is that the criminals have found a way to use laptops, tablets to start these vehicles up. So we are calling for these car manufacturers to find better ways to properly secure their equipment, because it's important for the community, if they purchase these products, to have a system that is designed that's not so easy to steal. So we are experiencing the same thing in Southeast Michigan as all other cities, where these cars are of high demand on the street, both for their parts and for individuals who want to use those cars also to commit other crimes. So that is a issue that we're dealing with, and that's why it's important that we continue to communicate as Southeast Michigan police chiefs to share resources and then hold these people accountable.
We're joined by Southfield Police Chief Elvin Barren with us on the Megacast. And Chief Barren, recently your department also partnered with the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities and the Southfield Community Anti-Drug Coalition to hold a Narcan training event, in your department and in the community in general. Now, especially after a recent report that over 100,000 Americans last year had died of drug overdoses, how much more critical is it now than ever for residents in all of our communities, but even more particularly for your community in Southfield, to be trained to use Narcan to help someone that may be overdosing?
Yes, we take a variety of approaches here in Southfield. Number one, as you mentioned, partner with the Alliance of Coalition, doing community Narcan training. That way the community has the Narcan device available, and if they see an individual suffering from an overdose incident, the community is able to respond. In addition to that, all Southfield police officers are also equipped with Narcan. We've saved numerous lives during the last 2 years that I've been here as a chief. And so the other dynamic to this war on narcotics and overdose is that the Southfield Police Department, we also partner with Families Against Narcotics, and we formed a comeback quick response team. And what that means is, if there is a non-fatal overdose in our city, Southfield Police Department members working in partnership with Families Against Narcotics respond to those locations. We offer resources to those individuals and their families to try to get them on a path towards recovery. You know, this is a new project that we've started. It's been in existence for roughly a month now, and we're very excited about it, and we're already making a difference as we speak.
We're joined by Chief Elvin Barren, the Southfield Police Department Chief, joining us today on the Megacast. And so in Southfield in particular, how big of a problem has drug overdose been in your community?
Well, it's something that we're dealing with, and certainly everyone deals with this on a national and local level. In Southfield, we do have a number of hotels, and those are places where some individuals do choose to use narcotics, and thus, thereby, we respond to these areas for treatment and recovery. And so we continue to partner with the community, making strides on giving the information to these hotel management owners, and that way the Southfield Police Department and the Southfield Fire Department, who are also a part of this initiative, are able to respond and again save lives, and more importantly, move towards giving the resources, because you got to ask yourself the question, how are children affected by these situations? These parents have children and they're suffering as well. And that's why it's important that we partner with Families Against Narcotics to, again, help the families just as equally as we help the persons who are suffering from this disease.
In terms of the Narcan or naloxone training, who is eligible to receive that training, and are they then equipped with the Narcan after that to be able to carry with them in the situation that they do encounter somebody who is overdosing?
Yes, so any member of the community is welcome to attend the training. We've done a number of trainings online and in person. Certainly since the COVID-19 outbreak, we had to revert to online virtual Narcan training, but everyone is welcome to join us when we have these trainings. Once you successfully complete the training, we send the community members a free Narcan kit, which includes the device, gloves, sanitation devices, so that you have everything you need to spring into action and help someone suffering from a narcotic overdose. Because you got to remember, the community is often the first people to see an episode. And so it's very important that our community become the unofficial first responders until we as law enforcement or fire department personnel show up.
We're joined by Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department with us on the Megacast. And Chief, on a week from Saturday, December 4th, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m., the Holiday Sleigh of Giving event will be held by the police department at the Southfield Parks and Recreation Building and located in the city. Tell us a little bit about that event and how people can participate.
We're very excited about this. This will be our second annual Holiday of Sleigh Giving event, really designed for the children and their families. We got sponsors who come in to help us out, anywhere from 411 Therapy to the Southfield Public Schools, Clarence, Veneer, a host of different partners who are contributing resources and items, gift items for our children. So we'll have toys for the children. We'll have clothing items to include hats, gloves, scarves. And more importantly, we're showing to the community that the Southfield Police Department is able to get the resources, bring everyone together in an effort to help our children, and particularly families in need during this holiday season.
Chief Elvin Barren is with us on the Megacast. He is the Southfield Police Chief, joining us today on the show. Chief Barren, just a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about what's going on in the city of Southfield, or other things that residents or visitors of the city should be aware of?
Well, I want to start off by really thanking the city of Southfield, the whole community. And I've been the police chief for roughly 2.5 years now. Certainly, many of you know I come from the city of Detroit as a deputy chief. But since my arrival, we've done some amazing work as a police department in the community, as we talk about what we've done for domestic violence awareness, what we've done with breast cancer awareness, what we've done with youth engagement. So I just want to thank the Southfield community, the surrounding cities who also take part in our engagement activities with the community. We have done so much great work, and guess what? More to come as we enter into 2022.
Well, Chief Barren, we thank you very much for joining us on the Megacast today, and thank you for your department's continued service to the community, fighting off crimes like the carjacking ring, and also helping support necessary community efforts such as the Narcan training.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, Chief Elvin Barren, the Southfield Police Chief, joining us today on the Megacast. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Megacast on your radio homes, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Coming up next, we'll be talking all about the holiday season and be joined by Wayne Bronner, the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. That is coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe here in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, although we're broadcasting all throughout the state of Michigan on places like My Michigan TV, and you can learn more information by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can find links to all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets, and find all of our full shows and individual interviews on demand. Again, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Well, we're in the thick of the holiday season, and with Thanksgiving right around the corner, soon after that, it will be Christmas season, and with Christmas season comes Christmas shopping and decorations, both of which can be done at Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. We're joined now by their president and CEO, Wayne Bronner, on the Megacast. Wayne, thank you for being with us.
And a happy 36th day to Christmas, before Christmas.
Yes, 36 days to go, and your team over there is prepared at this time in terms of what's ready for the customers, or how the preparation season, the preparatory shopping season is going over there for the Christmas holiday. How has the season started for your team over at Bronner's?
It's been very busy, so people are excited about Christmas.
So in terms of COVID-19, we're still in the thick of the pandemic, not quite where we were at last year in terms of the severity of things, because we have precautions like the vaccine that are available for people to take to prevent the spread of COVID-19, or at least severe COVID-19 cases. That being said, COVID-19 still needs to be a consideration for our retailers, including yours. So at this time, what are the precautions that are in place, or rules that are in place in your stores?
We have a lot of rules in place, and a lot of handicapped access that we put in place also. So people, for example, can use the restrooms. They have touch-free faucets and touch-free hair dryers and hand dryers. So it's very practical, and then they can come in without touching anything.
So Bronner's has really become a Christmas shopping staple here in southeastern Michigan, and really all across the state. People will come to Bronner's to do Christmas shopping, to shop for those decorations. Give us a little bit, for those that may not know the story, or maybe you didn't join us when you were with us last holiday season. Tell us a little bit about the history of Bronner's.
Well, my father started the business back in 1945. He never envisioned it would grow into the world's largest Christmas store, which we are now. And we offer 50,000 items and trims to the guests.
We're joined by Wayne. Please continue.
It's very affordable at Bronner's. 2/3 of the items that we sell are less than $20 retail.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner. He is the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, joining us today on the Megacast. And so as we are in the holiday season now, regardless of the holiday season, even before the holiday season, we've been hearing so much lately about supply chain issues that are affecting particularly retailers, but also in other sectors like grocery store chains as well. In terms of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, has your business been affected by the supply chain issues that we're seeing in other places, and how may that affect, if so, the business operations or the shopping for customers this holiday season?
Our deliveries this year were delayed, so usually our receiving area is very busy in July, August. This year it was September, October, so they were very busy. And we're very fortunate. We've got most of the items in stock.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner, president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, joining us today on the Megacast. Similar to the supply chain issues, another issue for many retailers and businesses across all sectors has been staffing. Is that currently an issue that you're facing as well over at Bronner's?
It's a challenge. We usually peak out about 750 people on the payroll right about now, and this year it's down to 650, so we're about 100 people short.
And so what are those jobs that or positions that are available, or at the very least, what positions are most critical for your team to be covering at this moment in time that are open?
Throughout the whole store, really. Yeah, it's, you name it, we could use them people.
And so with those open positions kind of being across the board, and a lot of businesses struggling to bring in staff either because of the pay or because of benefits or because of the situation, what are you doing over at Bronner's to try to attract new talent to come in and fill those positions, both temporary, part-time, and full-time?
Now, we have a reputation here at Bronner's for being a very cheery place to work, so we're relying on our reputation for applicants to come in.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner. He is the CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, joining us today on the Megacast. Yeah, it has to be a really, really cheery environment. It's all about the Christmas holiday season, and that's always a joyful and cheery time of the year. And so having that be part of the experience, critical to a holiday-centric store, a Christmas holiday-centric store like Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. On the topic of celebration of the holidays, you always have a Santa visit over there at Bronner's each year. Last year, because of the pandemic, that Santa visit was virtual. Will that be the case again this year, and what will the Santa visit experience be like in 2021?
Santa's going to visit. It's going to be virtual. Because of COVID, we don't want it in person.
So when will Santa be visiting Bronner's virtually this year, and how can people participate?
Now, they can go on our website and they'll get all the information.
All the information will be on their website. We are joined by Wayne Bronner. He is the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. That website is bronners.com, or for the specific page for their Santa visit event, bronners.com/Santa. And of course, their hours are they're located at 25 Christmas Lane in Michigan's Little Bavaria. November store hours this month, 10 a.m. to 7 Monday through Thursday, 10 to 8 on Fridays, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday, and noon to 6 on Sunday. It's open year-round and closed only on New Year's Day, Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Again, you can learn more information by going to their website at bronners.com, and for their Santa event, bronners.com/Santa. And so, Wayne, with the COVID-19 situation being so different this year than it was last year, we're still dealing with the pandemic. We're still taking our precautions. There's still, that dark cloud over our shoulder at this moment in time. It's not as big, it's not as scary maybe as it was a year ago, but that allows for some changes in your operations and some changes in the way that you operate your business and the experience for the customer as well. So in 2021, how is the Bronner's Christmas Wonderland experience different than it was now versus a year ago?
It's going to be very similar to a year ago. It's going to be very similar to 2019 before the pandemic. So people can come through. My father always said, you take 2 passes through Bronner's, one to look overhead to see the displays, and another one to see the merchandise.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner. He is the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, joining us today on the Megacast. And so as we are in the late parts of November and as we get into December and approach the Christmas holiday, you can expect that the world's largest Christmas store over there at Bronner's Christmas Wonderland could get very busy. And with the COVID-19 situation, it has been warned that some guests may need to wait outdoors on weekends as other guests exit. With that being the case, that, of course, would imply to me that there's going to be some capacity limits at your store. Is that the case?
They're really self-imposed, so we have capacity limits to keep our staff satisfied.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner. He's the president and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, joining us today on the Megacast. Wayne, just another few minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. At this moment in time, being that we are 36 days away from the Christmas holiday, is there anything else that we haven't discussed yet that our audience should know about the Bronner's Christmas Wonderland experience in 2021? What's available in your store this holiday season, or anything else that we haven't discussed?
Well, they should visit the Silent Night Memorial Chapel. That was built in 1992, and that was on a site that we've had a lot of inquiries for fast food restaurants and gas stations and so forth. My father, Wally, said he's been in heaven since 2008, but he said that we're going to put something special there. He didn't know what it was at the time. So we built a Silent Night Memorial Chapel in 1992. And it's open for visitors. There's nothing that's sold out there. Just to reflect on what the true reason for Christmas is.
We're joined by Wayne Bronner, President and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. You can learn more information by going to their website at bronners.com, and of course about their Santa visit events by going to bronners.com/Santa. Wayne, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it, and have a very happy holiday season, you, your team, your family, and your staff.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Wayne Bronner, President and CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. Again, their Santa visits this year will be virtual. You'll be able to learn more by going to bronners.com/Santa or by joining them online for plenty of Christmas cheer and Santa events and live videos from Santa throughout the holiday season by going to their Facebook page, facebook.com/BronnersChristmas. Again, facebook.com/BronnersChristmas or bronners.com/Santa. We're going to take another break. On the other side, we'll be joined by the Executive Director of Arise Detroit and former reporter and editor at the Detroit News, Luther Keith, will be with us next on the Megacast.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, is being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside our studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown in our studios here in West Bloomfield Township, although we're broadcasting all throughout the Oakland County area and across the state of Michigan on a number of different television, radio, and web outlets. Learn more information about all of those different outlets and find all of our shows on demand, both our full interviews and our full episodes on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now, he's a former reporter and editor at the Detroit News and is currently the executive director of Arise Detroit. Luther Keith is now joining us on the Megacast. Luther, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, appreciate having you on. So you are the executive director of Arise Detroit. Tell us a little bit about your organization and the work that it does to support our communities.
Well, thanks again. Well, Rise Detroit is, we call ourselves a coalition of more than 400 churches, block clubs, and community groups promoting volunteerism, community activism, and positive media images to create a better Detroit. Our basic goal in mission and call to action is to get people to step up and engage to improve their neighborhoods in Detroit, right where you live. We are not a direct service organization, but we provide some resources where we can. But our goal is to motivate people to kind of light the flame of community engagement, community involvement, and volunteerism, so people can improve their neighborhoods and understand that we all have a role to play. We just can't call talk shows and complain at the barbershop or the beauty salon. We are living in the blocks. We are living in neighborhoods. So let's look around and see what we can do ourselves personally to engage and to make our communities and neighborhoods the kind of neighborhoods we all want to live in.
You can find more information about Arise Detroit and donate to the organization by visiting their website at arisedetroit.org. We're joined by Executive Director Luther Keith on the Megacast. And so what inspired you to start this organization?
Well, as you know, I was a professional journalist at the Detroit News for more than 30 years, doing a lot of different things. I was a sports writer, political reporter, a business editor, an assistant managing editor, a senior editor, columnist. So I had a very long and fruitful career. And when I was a columnist, I would write columns about how we can improve the neighborhoods of Detroit. I would write about crime or education, literacy, business, what have you. And oftentimes people would say, well, Luther, that's a good idea. Who's going to do it? Luther, that's a good idea. Who's going to do it? And then sometime I would get calls and emails from white readers who would say, why aren't black people doing anything about their problems in Detroit? And then I would get calls and emails from black folks saying, we are trying to form a block club or youth program. Can we get some publicity to get people to engage in what we're trying to do? And so after a while, it occurred to me that what we needed in Detroit was not necessarily a group to, more groups to feed, clothe, and shelter. We needed a group to advocate on behalf of all the groups that are already doing that, to encourage people to support the groups that are out here. What I have come to coin called the transformation community. By that, I mean any church, block club, community group, or person that's trying to doing something positive to improve the neighborhoods or the community is this huge transformation community, which ends up being hundreds of organizations and thousands of people all across the city. So my thought was to create an organization that would encourage folks to get involved, to volunteer, and not just volunteer, but to understand that we all have a role to play. And the idea of Arise Detroit is simply to reach out to people and to get the community group that has 10 volunteers, maybe to get them 20, the cleanup program that has 50, maybe get them 100. And at the same time, while we encourage people to be involved, I thought it needed a strong media component, for this call of action. If you recognize that every movement has had a communication platform, where if you go back to drums and smoke signals, radio, TV, and of course today the internet. So my thought was to not just tell people, to urge people to get involved, but to use the platform of media. And fortunately, we have some great media partners in radio, TV, and newspapers. And so we try to use the media to put the spotlight on these great, inspiring efforts going on all around our city to get more people involved. And people say, like, why aren't we doing that? Why can't we do that? And so as a result of that, we've been able to grow our movement. We started with 22 founding organizations. Now we have more than 400 that have been involved in our activities all across the city of Detroit. Of course, our big annual event is our annual Neighborhoods Day event, which we just celebrated the 15th year. We promoted and marketed more than 1,700 community projects of all kinds all across the city. In every neighborhood, we bring together people of all kinds, all faiths, all incomes, all races, around a common interest of creating a better community. And fortunately, the community has responded. I like to say that Arise Detroit is not an idea whose time has come. It's an idea that community wants to come to. And actually, Arise is actually an acronym. It stands for Activating Resources and Inspiring Empowerment. So our goal is our motto is be part of the change. So if you give people a reason, if you reach out to them, they will respond. And that's what we're seeing with Arise Detroit.
We're joined by Luther Keith. He is the executive director of Arise Detroit. You can learn more information about the organization and ways that you can get involved and help them out by visiting their website at arisedetroit.org. Again, that is arisedetroit.org. And so you mentioned the 15th annual Neighborhoods Day. It happened back in August. It was the 15th iteration of that event. On Neighborhoods Day, you mentioned it's a number of projects that are happening all throughout the city with your partnering organizations and with volunteers as well. How has that grown over the last 15 years, and how do you expect that to continue to grow in the future as we eventually do get out from behind the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, it's been tremendous. Most times in the city of Detroit, in a lot of places, when you have community events, everybody goes to one place. We all go downtown. We all go to Belle Isle. We go to fireworks downtown. We decided that after we first launched Arise Detroit that we wanted to do something in the neighborhoods. Our first big event was actually in 2006 when we started. We had a huge volunteer fair in downtown Detroit at Campus Martians Park. We had about 50 nonprofits, and we invited people to come down and sign up and volunteer. That went well, but the next year we said, why don't we do something in the neighborhoods? And one of our board members, Jane Thomas, who has since passed, had an idea that we first thought was crazy. He said, why can't we do something in all the neighborhoods of Detroit? And we said, we can't do that. We're a little organization, but we thought about it. And think about what happens in churches on Sunday all over Detroit. In most communities, people of all faiths go to their respective houses of worship and worship in their own way all over the city. So let's take that motto and apply it to this new event that we're going to call Neighborhoods Day, which is held on the first Saturday of every August. And on this day, we ask Black people in churches and Black communities not to go one place downtown, but to do something in their own neighborhood to show how they're making a difference in their neighborhood. So we had from that, in that first year, we had 55 events, which was a lot, but we had people painting houses, cleaning up neighborhoods, having youth programs, parades, concerts, all kinds of events, events to help seniors, events for children. And from that first year of 55 events all over the city in different zip codes again, it quickly grew to 100, then 150 to over 200. For our 10th anniversary, we had, if you can imagine this, over 300 events all over the city of Detroit on the same day. And on a normal year, we have at least 200 because of COVID, of course, which hit 2 years ago. Everything changed because a lot of these events, we have huge crowds that gather, some large, some small. So we couldn't do it that way. So in 2020, we came up with a slogan called Stay Safe, Create Your Space. And we had people do small events on their houses, on their front lawns, in their neighborhoods. We kept all the events small with 10 people or less. And with that, encourage people to social distance and mask up. But even in the depths of the pandemic, we had over 100 groups participate. This year, of course, we had the vaccine and things have loosened up a little bit, but we still, of course, had the pandemic and those safety concerns. But this year, because of the vaccine and other reasons, we grew to more than 150 events. Again, still in the pandemic, which tells us that people want to show their community pride. We didn't want to be one of the organizations that we have a big event, and because of the pandemic, it goes away, and then people forget about that event. So we've been able to maintain this. We had a great event of all over the city. Again, we had youth golf tournaments and all kind of manner of people cleaning up neighborhoods, festivals and concerts, food giveaways, school supply giveaways. And so we know that this is something that people want to respond to. But again, neighborhoods is just one day. We are one of the things, again, that we do throughout the year. We're partnering with organizations promoting their events. We have a newsletter that if you go to our website, arisedetroit.org, you can sign up for, which comes out every week to several thousand subscribers. And it's full of information on community programs, volunteering, job opportunities, a lot of safety information, where you can get vaccinated, where you can get tested. And so that's been a great tool to advocate on behalf of other organizations, because I see Arise Detroit as an advocate for all the nonprofit groups out here. So everything is not about us. It's about how we can serve all these organizations. And what we have found is that most of these organizations who are doing this work, they get up every day and they're looking for people to help them, where they can find a partner. And so Arise Detroit is a partner to all of these groups. And there was a saying that the great boxer Joe Louis out of Detroit said during World War II, when he was doing work for the war effort. And he said an expression that we, instead of saying that God is on his side, we are on God's side. And I think that is how people feel about Arise Detroit. Arise Detroit is on their side. You don't have to be the most prosperous. You don't have to be a big foundation taken over by a foundation. We just want to know how we can help you and create the community that you want to have. So that's what people have responded to. And we've been able to help we're a very small organization, but our through technology of today, our reach is much farther than we could be in way back before the days of the internet and technology. So we've been able to really maintain that connection with people, and the people that show us how much they appreciate it. And that's the fact that the number of people who respond to this, if people weren't responding, we wouldn't be here. What has made us is the fact that people understand that what we do makes a difference. And even though we don't come in and we fix a whole roof, but we'll find somebody maybe that can come fix your roof. We can't clean up your neighborhood by ourselves. We'll find people to come to it. So it starts with the individual. And as a result of neighborhoods difference, a lot of people say we don't have a block club, but now we're going to form one. And one of our board members, Tony McElwain, who for years ran the Ravendale Community Detroit, she has a saying which I have borrowed or stolen, but I think it's very important. And it goes like this: most people are waiting to be led. Most people are waiting to be led. They don't get involved, but they don't think they're a leader. And as my dear departed mother once said, Jesus is coming, but he's probably not coming tonight. He's probably not coming tonight. And if he's not coming, what are you going to do to make a difference? So the idea again is about look into the mirror, get involved, get engaged. And I can tell you that, I'm just totally inspired by all the people that I've seen and have encountered doing this work. It's such a great feeling. And people often ask me for years, Luther, don't you miss being a journalist? Because I had a great career. I was on TV and had my own column. And actually, I'm doing a lot of that now anyway. But when you're a columnist, you can't make everybody happy no matter what you write, no matter what opinion you write. I could write a column and say we should all love each other. And people say, well, Luther, that's crazy. You can't do that. Now when people ask me what I do, I say I run a nonprofit to help children and families improve life in Detroit. Nobody says like, I'm against that. I want to fight you about that. They say, oh, really? How can I get involved? How can I help? So every day we're meeting in a place of common ground. We are debating people. We aren't trying to persuade people to vote this way or vote that way. We have, what we're about is we want a better community. You want a better community. How can we together make our community better? Let me help you. Maybe you can help me. And so we live in a place with the Rise of Detroit, our work brings people together on common ground. We don't live in a world of conflict. We don't live in a world of debate. And there's a place for all of that. We understand that. But at the end of the day, we all have much more in common than divides us. And if we can focus on that, we can get tremendous things done in our community. In the last 15, 16 years, what the Rise Rate demonstrates that.
We're joined by Luther Keith. He is the executive director of Arise Detroit. Learn more information on how you can get involved as well by going to their website at arisedetroit.org. And recently, being that we are still in the middle of the pandemic, that's of course affecting service in some situations and definitely affecting our relationships with our community and the ways that we interact with other people. Because of the current situation with COVID-19 in the state of Michigan, certainly in the city of Detroit as well, you and your organization have been making a greater push of late to encourage people to get vaccinated against COVID-19. What was the inspiration or the impetus behind that current push to get Detroiters vaccinated?
Well, simply because we're looking around and people are dying. People are dying. People that we know, people that we love, all over our community. And we looked around this year and we actually issued a formal statement encouraging Detroiters to get vaccinated because we felt that it was such an urgent need. Detroit's numbers in terms of vaccination are some of the lowest of any major city, below 50% here in the city of Detroit. Over 2,400 people have died since the onset of the pandemic. So we did have earlier this month our annual we call it our neighborhood summit, which generally focuses on getting people to talk about how they can improve their communities. We had it virtually this year. Normally you have over 400 people downtown at the Wayne County Community College downtown campus, a whole day of workshops. So this year we did it virtually and we focused on health. So we had doctors on talking about vaccination. We had the City of Detroit's Chief Public Health Officer, Denise Fiorazzo, on. We had Deputy Director Codman Mallett, who are spearheading the campaign to get Detroiters vaccinated. We had Detroiters talking about why they got vaccinated. We had people talking about the impact of COVID on education and students and parents. So we just think that this is an urgent time, a time of crisis, a time that we've never seen before in our lifetimes. And we could not just do a traditional type of event. And this is urgent. We all want to get back to that place we call normal. I don't know if we'll ever get back to what we saw, but we can definitely make it better. And that's why we felt that we had to step up and do what we can do to encourage people to get vaccinated, respecting people's political beliefs and their religious beliefs. But beyond that, we just felt that it's the number one thing we can do to make our community better and to save our loved ones, And that was our main impetus.
We're joined by Luther Keith, the executive director of Arise Detroit. And of course, we're in the holiday season. People are looking to help organizations throughout our communities that are helping other people as well. And so at this time, what sort of volunteer opportunities are available with Arise Detroit? And then beyond that, what are some other ways that people can help your organization do the great work that it does in Detroit?
Well, the thing to understand about Arise Detroit and volunteerism is that we do not do the volunteerism. Our organizations in our network do the volunteering. So again, we don't manage the volunteers. We connect people to the groups that do volunteer, like Detroit Blight Busters for Warner, Block Clubs. So that's the way our Neighborhood Day event works. People will contact us and then we connect them. Like I said, we have several hundred organizations. So if someone contacts us or emails us at info@arisedetroit.org, we could connect them to volunteer opportunities of all kinds, food pantries, kitchens, that type of thing, working in neighborhood groups, literacy programs. We have organizations that are, literally every quality of life issue in the city of Detroit, we have a connection with one of those groups, and we're kind of like a traffic cop, if you will, routing volunteers. So that's one way. Of course, we're a small nonprofit funded by foundations and some corporate support, but of course we welcome any donations by going to our website. You can donate to us. That's another great way to support us. And sign up for our newsletter. You can, by going to our website, signing up, that will plug you into all the great things that people are doing, all kinds of opportunities, volunteer opportunities, jobs, organizations that you think are doing something that you want to support. Because again, it's not just about supporting Rise Detroit. Rise Detroit's goal is to support all the other groups out here. We're like a free public relations advertising agency for all the nonprofit community, if you will. And that's what makes us unique. But one thing that I'd like to emphasize, that volunteerism is important, but what we're doing really is bigger than volunteerism. And I use this anecdote. C.T. Vivian, a contemporary of Dr. Martin Luther King, spoke in Detroit years ago and talked about the fact that during the Montgomery bus boycott, they had a saying that said, "What are you doing for the movement?" That meant you had to answer, "I'm cooking food, I'm driving people to work, I'm letting people stay at my house." But you had to be doing something for the movement. And so that's what we're trying to do here in Detroit, is to create that kind of mentality. What are you doing for the movement, your community, for Detroit? You don't have to run a big organization. You don't have to have a big business. You can just sit home and watch the kids come home from school safely. And maybe you can teach someone to read at a literacy program. Large or small, there's something we all can do. And we all probably have something that somebody else wants. So those are all the kinds of ways to be involved, because our work is to support all the other people who are doing great work out here. And of course, and we welcome any way that people want to connect and be involved. They can do that. They can call our office at 313-921-1955 or email us at info@arisedetroit.org. Like I said, our website, arisedetroit.org, is full of information, all kinds of videos about our work, Neighborhood Today. We're all over YouTube. If you Google Rise Detroit Neighborhood Today, you'll find all kinds of information about it. And again, it's something very positive. And I want to thank you and folks in Oakland County for reaching out to us, because quite frankly, this is totally unexpected, but I'm very pleased. And I think it's, again, an indication, if you put out positive vibes, positive work, you attract the positive. And that's what's so wonderful about Rise Detroit. We focus on the work, and then be blessed in many ways. It comes back many times over. And in this holiday season, I think that's a great message.
It absolutely is. And Luther, we appreciate your time telling us more about Arise Detroit and what you and all of your partnered organizations in the city are doing to help other people and to help our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Stay safe and have a happy holiday.
You as well. Luther Keith, Executive Director of Arise Detroit. If you want to get involved with one of their partnering organizations and the work that they're doing to improve the community down in the city of Detroit and in the local area, you can learn that information and how to get involved by going to their website at arisedetroit.org. We're going to take one more break, and then coming up next, we will talk all about security, securing your information, securing your devices in a technologically specific world that we're living in today. Dan Isidoric, the CEO of PC Miracles out of Pontiac, will join us next on the Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
as partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Joining us now is Dan Isidoric. He is the CEO of PC Miracles, as it is Fraud Awareness Week now through November 21st. He's joining us now to talk about ways that you can secure your information and your devices to avoid becoming a victim of fraud or having your information tampered with. Dan, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. How's your day?
Going well so far. How are you, Dan?
Good.
Good. So appreciate having you on. So it is Fraud Awareness Week, and the goal this week is to shine a spotlight on fraud and explore opportunities for educational opportunities for people to learn more about ways that they can secure their information and avoid fraud, especially now during the holiday season where with a lot more people shopping online over the last 20 months plus because of the pandemic and because of the availability of different shopping options, people are a little bit more susceptible to fraud online than they had been in years past.
Correct. Very true.
So what are some common tips that you give for people as they're doing online shopping or as they're engaging anywhere online today to avoid becoming a victim to fraud?
Okay. So a couple of highlights out there are, first, when you're shopping online, do your best to find a site that has a good reputation. If it's not a well-known site, but they maybe sell a niche product, make sure to go check reviews on them. Make sure that they're legitimate out there. They have a track record. Outside of that, a lot of scams come over email today related to shipping related to your packages. And people are very open to clicking on them very rapidly, saying, hey, your package is delayed from FedEx, things of that nature. And when it comes to that, if it's saying which site that is sending you that email related to your package delivery, the safe thing to do is not to click on any links in there. It is to log into that site and check the status right there. What happens is a lot of the times you click on that link, it looks identical to the site that you ordered from, except for the address has one different character. And so you think you're in the legit site. It asks you to log in. Once you log in, they gather all your information. In addition to that, the final thing that I'd say, there's many things you can do, but another great thing to do over the holidays is you can use virtual credit card numbers. So what I mean by that is you log into your Amex, your Visa, your Chase, your MasterCard. A lot of those sites will give you a temporary credit card number that only works for a day or two. So if you're to go shopping and it is one of those sites that maybe doesn't have such a large reputation, and you use that credit card, and it does happen to be a site that has some fraud related to it, they go to use that virtual credit card a day or two later, and it won't work. So those are some avenues there.
We're joined by Dan Isidoric. He's the CEO of PC Miracles with us today on the Megacast. And so, Dan, you mentioned those phishing emails or suspicious websites, but there's a lot of different situations where people have to provide some personal information over the web, whether it be for applying for loans or whether it be for filling out some information for making a purchase, paying their rent, their utilities, and so on. Some personal information, it's just frankly unavoidable to have it out
Correct.
there virtually, but there are ways that you can secure that information better at the device level or at your home internet connection level to prevent breaches in that regard. What are some tips that you have for people to be able to find additional security or take additional security measures either on individual devices or on their home or work connections?
Okay. So the first thing that I would recommend is when you're logging into a site and you do need to give information, always make sure that when you look up at the top of the bar that there's a little lock there. It's showing that the website is using encrypted traffic. Sometimes that's something that's overlooked. It's not as much an issue today with some of the major sites, but some of the smaller sites out there, you might see that. Another thing you can do to secure your information, and maybe you're on a public Wi-Fi or things of that nature or a connection you're not familiar with, is make sure you have on your sites, on your logins to like your mortgage company and other places, multi-factor authentication, so that when you do log into these sites, they send you a text to your phone that validates that it's you. Because if you're on a connection you're not familiar with, then there's a chance that information can be gathered. But if you have multi-factor authentication in place where you get that text, there's no threat to anyone getting your logins that can be harmful to you. When it comes to doing stuff from home, always make sure that you have a good up-to-date antivirus software and security software on your computer. And then I would also recommend, as a parent, I don't allow my children to use my devices because they get a little click happy at times. So, I want this free Robux, for my games and all this. So they have their own device, which is completely separate from mine, and that helps a lot with security.
We're joined by Dan Isidore. He is the CEO of PC Miracles, joining us on the Megacast. As it is National Fraud Awareness Week, shining a spotlight on fraud and exploring opportunities for education support and prevention. National Fraud Week, November 14th through November 21st. And in terms of businesses, because a lot of businesses, especially those that are operating virtually in some sense, or having people filing in and out of the office where they may be using personal or work devices on multiple networks, what are some steps that they can take right now to secure devices and secure their own networks so that their own internal systems aren't being infected or maybe even locked down in something like a ransomware attack?
So majority of businesses today already have a firewall at their premise. So that's an easy one on the list. But the challenge that you brought up is today a lot of people are working from home because of what happened in our world, and several businesses that don't have a very proactive approach from their IT company or their in-house IT has kind of foregoed looking at the security requirements for team members working from home. Or what happened was there was a rapid deployment, as we all know, of people working from home. And so we kind of got Band-Aids put in place to get them to be able to operate, and didn't follow up back behind it with the necessary security needs to make sure that those systems are secure from home. What I do recommend for businesses, if you don't have a proper security footprint in your company where you can allow team members to come in securely from any device, even if it's owned by the team member, then I highly recommend you provide them a work laptop that is secured by your IT department or your external IT provider.
We're joined by Dan Isidore. He is the CEO of PC Miracles, joining us on the Megacast today. And so we've heard a lot more, and I mentioned it before in the previous question. We've heard a lot more recently about ransomware attacks in a number of different sectors. Some have made national headlines, such as the pipeline that fell victim to ransomware just a few months ago that affected a number of people down south. It's becoming seemingly more common of late. What are some steps, you mentioned some of them already, that companies can take to either prevent ransomware attacks, or in the event that they fall victim to it, restore their information without having to be held, frankly, hostage by these hackers?
Yeah, so really the number one thing, actually two things that a company can do, is have a solid backup solution in place that is tested frequently being at least monthly manually, and tested daily by the tool itself, and making sure that you have a backup that is outside of your office or your main location. And the reason being is because if something happens where you do have ransomware there, it's not going to affect that external backup that you have in place. So that's the first thing. The second thing is make sure that you have a good cybersecurity policy in place. They're still somewhat reasonable, but the prices of the cybersecurity policies are increasing. But the nice thing about going through the exercise of doing a cybersecurity policy quote is it will show you the vulnerabilities that you might have today that they require that you patch up, and it gives you a roadmap for the items that you need to address that will make your company more secure, even if you don't institute the policy with the provider.
We're joined by Dan Isidore, CEO of PC Miracles, joining us on the Megacast as it is Fraud Awareness Week now through November 21st. One of the many steps that people can take to prevent their information from being stolen, from being maliciously used, to prevent hacks in their devices and in their systems, is setting strong passwords. What are some tips that you have for individuals and for businesses to set their passwords and make sure that they're securing their devices best?
Yeah, so previously in the past, we all thought the standard was to do 8 characters, uppercase, lowercase, different characters such as that. There's a lot of studies out there today that now show you're actually better off if you do a phrase, but it has to be longer. It has to be 13, 14, 15 characters. And when you get to and it doesn't have to have unique characters, it can just be a long phrase. And there's studies showing that that takes years to crack. So if you can do that and pair it with multi-factor authentication where you get that text on your phone, putting the multi-factor in place on everything, if you put it on your Facebook account, you put it on your LinkedIn, you put it on everything, that will reduce your risk of somebody breaching into your accounts. I think it's 99.98% is the metric on that. So does that help?
Yeah, that's definitely helpful information. I think for a lot of people too, they get the suggestion that you don't want to use the same password or very similar passwords across multiple devices or across multiple systems. For a lot of people, what their answer to that would then be, well, that makes it really tough for me to remember all my passwords, because I may think one password is something that I'm using on one account versus the other, may get them mixed up, I may forget them. What advice do you have for people and for businesses as they're providing variety in their passwords across systems and across different entities to remember their passwords or to store their passwords? Are there secure ways for people to do that in today's age?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. So there's many tools out there like LastPass, RoboForm, all those. Those are great personal tools for somebody to manage all their passwords. Just make sure when you use that tool that you're logging into it, you also have multi-factor authentication into it, because it is the gate into all your logins. So it's very critical. But with that said, when it comes to business, there are similar tools to that, but they're built for corporate use. Highly recommend that, because if you have somebody that leaves your team, you don't want them to be able to take those logins with them. So that's something to consider. Now, with that said, that's a great way, and I personally use password managers myself to manage all that. The other thing is, if you do have multi-factor authentication on multiple things, you can then use the same password, because then it's texting you for that unique code to get in, and it does make your life a lot easier.
We're joined by Dan Isidork. He is the CEO of PC Miracles, joining us on the Megacast. And Dan, we have a few more minutes, so I want to give you some time to talk about your business, about PC Miracles, and some of the services that you provide to people out in our local area.
I appreciate it. So yeah, we've been in business 27 years. We're headquartered in downtown Pontiac, and we've been in downtown Pontiac just over 4 years. We focus on healthcare providers, legal, manufacturing. We have retail, and so we have because we've been around so long, we have a whole breadth of client base that we work with. What I'd like to offer out to anyone out there that does have a business, if there's something in your gut that you say, hey, maybe something just doesn't feel right with your IT today, your backups or something like that, we can have a very easy discussion, and I can help educate you on some things that you might have takeaways that you can just institute, and you don't even need to work with us. So I'm a big believer in sharing and educating out there, and everything comes around, so in a good way.
Well, Dan, we appreciate your time and helping us share and educate people on avoiding fraud during this Fraud Awareness Week, and also securing their devices and their systems, as we're in a much more technical world and more connected world than ever before. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Big thank you to Dan Isidork, the PC Miracles CEO, and all of our other guests, including Luther Keith, Executive Director of Arise Detroit, for being with us, Wayne Bronner, the CEO of Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department, and of course, Timothy Paule, the Executive Director the director of Detroit Hives. You can learn more information about all of our partnering television stations and find all of those interviews that we had today and on previous shows, as well as our full episodes, on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. Those are usually posted sometime mid to late afternoon Monday through Friday on the days of our shows. You can also learn more information about COVID-19 and stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the pandemic from resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, or the MDHHS, as well as the Oakland County Health Division by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where you'll also be able to stay up to date with all the top stories on the COVID-19 front and beyond, as we post our articles there from a number of different outlets in the Detroit area and across the state of Michigan before our live shows, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Big thank you to our entire crew for our shows this week. Calvin Brown, our studio producer and our board operator. Jared Clark back in our Troy studios over at My Michigan TV, our Zoom producer. And of course, Larry Nyland, who is our booking producer for the show, getting all of our guests booked for each episode and preparing all the information that they need to know about us and that we need to know about them so we can keep you informed. Again, you can find all of our episodes on our website, civiccentertv.com. Over on Civic Center TV, the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast is next. And on My Michigan TV, it's Steve Lato Live. We will be back Monday at 10 a.m.